Okay, so what if you could, like, unlock the earning potential of your staked crypto, but still actually use it?
Right. And what if borrowing stablecoins was, you know, easier, more decentralized?
Exactly. Those are really the big questions, aren't they? And today we're doing a deep dive into a new project that's trying to answer them.
We are. We're looking at Lista. Heard some chatter about it. It's all about liquid staking and decentralized stablecoins.
Yeah, Lista. And our main source for this is the Lista document. It's dated May 23rd, 2024, so it gives us a pretty recent snapshot.
So the goal here for you listening is basically to pull out the key stuff about Lista. You know, what it does, how the token works, what the potential is.
Uh-huh. Save you the trouble of digging through all the docs yourself. We want to give you the clear picture, maybe highlight a couple of surprising bits.
And hopefully leave you with a solid grasp of what it's all about by the end.
All right, let's jump in. Fundamentally, what is Lista? What's the core idea?
Okay, so at its heart, Lista is trying to be a bridge between staking and stablecoins in DeFi.
A bridge. Okay.
It does this with, well, two main things. First, there's a liquid staking for BNB. That gives you a token called lisBNB.
lisBNB. Got it. And the second thing?
The second part is their decentralized stablecoin. It's called lisUSD. And you can borrow this against various crypto assets you might hold.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. Liquid staking. For someone maybe looking to earn on their BNB, what does lisBNB actually do for them? What's the advantage?
Right. Well, think about normal staking.
Mm-hmm.
You lock up your BNB, it earns rewards, but it's stuck, right? You can't really touch it for a while.
Yeah, it's locked.
Liquid staking with lisBNB is different. You stake your BNB, you still get the staking rewards flowing in, but you also get this lisBNB token back.
Ah, okay. A token representing the staked BNB.
Exactly. And the key part is liquid. That lisBNB token isn't locked. You can trade it, you could use it as collateral somewhere else, maybe provide liquidity in a pool.
So you're earning staking rewards, but the underlying value isn't completely tied up. You still have flexibility?
Precisely. It unlocks the capital while it's still earning yield. That's the big idea.
Okay, that makes sense. Earning and usability. Now, the other side, lisUSD, the stable coin. How does that work? How does it stay stable? And how do people actually get it?
So lisUSD aims for stability, like it's pegged to the dollar by being over-collateralized.
Over-collateralized, meaning there's more value locked up than the value of the lisUSD out there.
That's right. You deposit approved crypto collateral, more value than you want to borrow, and then you can mint or borrow lisUSD against that collateral.
So I don't have to sell my, say, Bitcoin or Ether if I need some stable coins. I can just borrow against it.
Exactly. You get access to stable liquidity without selling your main holdings. And the stability itself comes from those collateral vaults and protocol mechanisms designed to keep it pegged. Governance plays a role too.
Interesting. Okay, so this whole system, it seems like the Lista token is pretty central. You mentioned governance, so holders get to vote in the Lista DAO.
Yep, that's a core function. Governance. Voting on protocol upgrades, parameter changes, that kind of thing.
But what about, incentives? Why would someone want to hold Lista beyond just voting? How does it benefit the user?
Good question. There's more to it. Lista has four main functions, really. Governance is one. Another big one is protocol incentivization.
Okay, what does that mean?
Earning Lista.
Yeah. You can earn Lista tokens by actively using the platform. Like, if you borrow lisUSD or if you provide liquidity to pools with lisUSD or lisBNB on certain exchanges, you get rewarded with Lista.
Oh, interesting. So using the core features earns you a piece of the governance token.
Right. It helps kickstart the ecosystem and rewards people for participating early on.
Makes sense. What are the other functions you said four?
So the third one is called the voting gauge, or Volista. This is where it gets kind of interesting.
Volista, go on.
So you can choose to lock up your Lista tokens for a certain period. In return, you get Volista. This Volista gives you, like, boosted voting power.
Boosted how? What can you vote on with it? You can use that Volista weight to vote on things like which types of collateral should be prioritized for people borrowing less USD. Or you can vote to direct more Lista reward emissions toward specific liquidity pools you might be interested in.
So you can actually influence where the rewards flow and what assets the protocol supports most actively.
Exactly. It gives locked holders a real say in the protocol's economic priorities.
Okay, that's pretty powerful. And the fourth function?
Fee sharing. Simple concept, really. If you lock your Lista to get Volista, you also get a cut of the fees the Lista protocol generates.
Like borrowing fees, redemption fees, that sort of thing.
Precisely. So it creates a direct financial reason to hold and lock Lista long term. If the protocol does well and sees more usage, Lista holders benefit directly through those shared fees.
Got it. So governance, earning by participating, directing rewards with Lista, and sharing in the fees, that covers a lot of ground.
Yeah, it's designed to tie the token's value pretty closely to the platform's actual usage and success.
Let's shift to the numbers a bit, the tokenomics. The document, as of late May 2024, says a total supply of 1 billion Lista. Fixed supply.
1 billion, yes, standard big round number.
But the initial circulating supply is listed around 230 million, so roughly 23% of the total. What does that initial figure usually tell us?
Well, having only a fraction circulating at launch is pretty common. It can sometimes help with price discovery early on, maybe create a bit of initial scarcity.
It also means
It also means there's a lot more supply scheduled to be released over time. The remaining 77% is allocated somewhere: team, investors, community rewards, treasuries, etc. So the market needs to absorb that gradual inflation. It's a standard consideration.
Right, and it's a BEP20 token, so it lives on the Binance Smart Chain.
Correct. BNB chain native.
Now, here's something that jumps out. The Binance Megadrop allocation. 100 million Lista, which is 10% of the total supply. That seems significant. Why go so big on a Megadrop launch?
Yeah, 10% is a chunky allocation for a launch event like that. Using Binance Megadrop gives them, well, massive visibility right out of the gate.
Access to Binance's user base.
Exactly. Huge user base, very active in crypto. It's a shortcut to widespread initial distribution, brand awareness, getting the token into many hands quickly. Plus, being featured on Binance adds a layer of perceived legitimacy for many users.
So a strategic move for broad awareness and initial adoption. Makes sense.
Definitely looks like a key part of their launch strategy.
Looking at the rest of the allocation breakdown, okay, 10% for the mega drop, another 10% for a general airdrop.
So 20% for initial distribution events, roughly.
And 19% for investors and advisors. Team gets 3.5%. That seems quite low, actually.
It is relatively low compared to some projects, yeah. Could be seen positively. Less immediate sell pressure from the team.
Then the big one, community, 40%. That's substantial.
40%. Yeah, that's a very large slice dedicated to the community. It strongly suggests they're aiming for significant decentralization and community ownership over the long run.
Empowering the users, incentivizing participation through rewards.
That's usually the philosophy behind such a large community allocation, yes. Plus, there's 8% for the DAO treasury funds the community can eventually trade on how to use, and 9.5% for the broader ecosystem development.
Okay. And the document mentions a release schedule for these allocations, so we don't have the exact details here, but vesting schedules are obviously important.
Absolutely. Knowing when those locked tokens for investors, team, etc. become available is crucial for understanding potential future market dynamics.
Let's talk about progress on the business side. Partnerships, integrations. The document lists a few key ones.
Yeah, these are important for making the tokens actually useful.
Right. So PancakeSwap is mentioned for liquidity and trading of lisUSD and SLIS-BNB. That seems like a natural fit on BNB chain.
Standard, yeah. You need a primary DEX for people to easily swap the tokens.
Then WBETH wrapped Beacon Ether is integrated as collateral for borrowing lisUSD.
Oh, that's interesting. So people holding staked Ether derivatives can use them to borrow the stablecoin. Broadens the collateral base.
And Venus protocol. You can deposit lisUSD or SLIS-BNB there as collateral to borrow other assets.
Okay, so that adds another layer of utility. You can use your Lista assets to gain leverage or access different tokens on Venus.
APX is mentioned too, depositing lisUSD as margin for perpetual trading.
So using the stablecoin directly in derivatives trading. Another use case.
And finally, Magpie, for yield and V-tokenomics boosting for the pools on PancakeSwap and Lista itself.
Right. Magpie specializes in optimizing yields from protocols that use V-token models, like Lista's Lista. So it helps users potentially get better returns from their LP positions.
If you kind of zoom out and look at all these partnerships together, PancakeSwap, WBETH, Venus, APX, Magpie, what's the bigger picture? How does this web of integrations really help Lista?
It's all about embedding lisUSD and SLIS-BNB into the existing DeFi fabric. Each integration opens up new pathways for users. It means more liquidity, more trading options, more borrowing lending opportunities, more ways to earn yield.
So it moves them from just being tokens within the Lista protocol to being useful assets across the wider BNB chain ecosystem.
Exactly. Without these integrations, the tokens would be much less useful, much less valuable. They drive demand and utility.
Okay, let's connect that directly to the user. How do these specific partnerships actually benefit someone holding or using lisUSD or SLIS-BNB?
Well, take PancakeSwap, easy place to buy, sell, or earn fees by providing liquidity. The WBETH integration. If you have WBETH, you can now get liquidity via lisUSD without selling your ETH stake
Right.
using Venus. You can deposit your SLIS-BNB, keep earning the staking yield, and borrow other tokens against it, or deposit lisUSD to borrow something else. APX lets traders use the stablecoin directly for leverage. And Magpie, well, it could potentially squeeze out extra yield for liquidity providers.
So it's about creating more options, more flexibility, and potentially more profit avenues for the users.
That's the goal, yeah.
Mm.
Making the assets work harder for the user within the DeFi space.
Lastly, the community aspect. The document mentions the usual channels. Reddit, Twitter, Medium, Telegram, Discord. Seems like you covering the bases.
Standard playbook for crypto projects, yeah.
Yeah.
Need to be where the communities gather.
For someone listening who's now, intrigued by Lista and wants to dig deeper or maybe ask questions, where's the best place to start?
It kind of depends what you're looking for. Twitter's usually good for quick updates, like announcements.
Okay.
Medium often has the longer, more detailed posts explaining concepts, vision, maybe deep dives into mechanics.
Right, the blog style stuff.
Yeah. For actual conversation, asking questions, talking to other users, or maybe even the team, Telegram and Discord are generally the most active, real-time chat.
So Twitter for news, Medium for depth, Telegram, Discord for interaction.
That's a pretty good summary, yeah. Reddit can also be useful for broader discussions or finding community takes, but Telegram and Discord tend to be the main hubs for active engagement.
All right, good overview. So just to wrap up the main points from our deep dive today,
Do it.
Lista is essentially trying to merge liquid staking, specifically for BNB with SLIS-BNB, and decentralized stablecoin borrowing with lisUSD, making staked assets usable and borrowing stables easier.
Yep, that's the core combo. Unlocking staked value and providing decentralized borrowing.
And the Lista token is key to this. It's for governance, yes, but also for earning rewards by participating, using Lista to direct incentives, and getting a share of the protocol's fees.
Exactly. Multiple utility streams designed to encourage holding and participation. We also touched on the tokenomics, the initial supply, the big Megadrop allocation, the large community focus.
And the importance of those integrations across DeFi, PancakeSwap, Venus, etc., for building real utility.
Couldn't function effectively without them.
So, for you, the listener, understanding a project like Lista gives you a window into how DeFi protocols are constantly evolving, trying to solve problems like capital inefficiency and making things more user-friendly. What stands out most to you about their approach?
For me, it's probably that direct link they're trying to build between the liquid staking side, SLIS-BNB, and the stablecoin side, lisUSD. Using one to collateralize the other, incentivizing liquidity for both. It feels like they're aiming for a really tightly integrated loop.
A self-reinforcing cycle, maybe?
Potentially, yeah, if they get the incentives and mechanics right. And that heavy community allocation is also noteworthy, signals a commitment to decentralization, which is always interesting to watch play out.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. Considering Lista's model making staked assets liquid, offering a decentralized stablecoin, integrating deeply into DeFi, what could this mean for the bigger picture? If models like this succeed, how might they change the accessibility or, the overall usability of decentralized finance for more people down the line?
It definitely makes you think about the interplay between these different DeFi building blocks, staking, lending, stablecoins, governance, and how combining them in new ways might lower barriers or create new kinds of financial tools.
Something to keep an eye on for sure, how these protocols evolve and how their governance tokens actually shape that future. Lots to consider as DeFi keeps building.